This video explores the dramatic story of Alan Lord, a Manchester man who spent 32 years in prison for murder and became a key figure in the infamous Strangeways prison riots of 1990.
Obviously, Strangeways as well. I think the population was 900, but they had nearly 1,700 in the prison.
No, the population at the time when it kicked off, it was 1,600. He was 64, 68 prisoners. And it was only designed for 900 prisoners.
Yeah, that's crazy. See, when you started the riot, was there a massive plan for that, or did it just happen?
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, it was sort of like pre-planned to a degree the week leading up to it. You know, but I didn't think nobody expected it going for the length of time it did.
The biggest in British history.
That's the thing that stunned everybody.
And it went global. The whole world knew about it.
Yes. But the reason why it went on that length of time because of the poll tax riots. And I firmly believe that. Because when I was being interviewed, I remember turning around to them and said, let me tell you something, right? You deliberately let this riot continue. And they all went, what do you mean? I said, what happened the previous evening down London? And they're all scratching their heads thinking, what's he on about? I said, the poll tax riots, Trafalgar Square. And I said, just by coincidence that the following morning, one of the biggest prisons in this country kicks off, just by coincidence. So all the attraction, all the limelight went from that to that. I said, because which is more containable? A riot behind walls or a riot on the streets?
So when that happened in the chapel, when the riot first started, how many people were in it?
I can't give you a specific number. I can guess. I'd say around about 300 prisoners.
Was the Beast in there as well?
No. Now, every Sunday, the Beast used to go to that chapel on the right-hand side at the top, mainly from C-Wing and E-Wing. Well, on this particular day, they wasn't in attendance. Now, from reading the depositions, I came across a notification that from a grass that to the warders that it was going to kick off in the chapel.
So someone stuck you in?
Well, didn't stick us in, but informed that something's going to happen in the chapel. It's going to kick off. So what's happened? The warders have gone to the sex offenders and said, you're not going to chapel today. You know, we can't go because there's going to be trouble. Some of the sex offenders saying, I want to go to the chapel, and saying, well, you're not going. But what they've done, the ones on C-Wing, right, as soon as it kicked off in the chapel, they got rid of them, got them out of the building immediately. But the ones on the E-Wing on the floors...
How many of them was there?
The ones on the E-Wing were about 54 or 56.
These riots, sparked by brutal prison conditions, lasted 25 days and became the longest in UK history.
The scary thing is, if they get kept in there, they'd probably all been dead.
They were kept in, the ones on the E-Wing.
Oh, E-Wing?
Yeah, E-Wing.
So the ones that were in the chapel got out?
Right. No, they weren't in attendance.
Right,
they were confined behind the cells.
Yeah,
the ones on C-Wing, no sex offenders went to the chapel. Let me get this straight. No sex offenders were in attendance because of the warning that they had
Somebody
from the
notified
grass.
that, yeah.
Yes. So the ones on C-Wing, as soon as it kicked off in the chapel, they got rid of them out the building.
Back door.
But the ones on E-Wing, they left them. Now, I firmly believe they left them to the fate. Not that I'm bothered. The sex offenders. So as a result, when it kicked off and they got the keys and doors were being open, the sex offenders in E-Wing were all being battered. The cell doors were being wrenched off, whatever, you know, and items were taking place, retribution for the crimes they were in for. You know, not that I feel sorry.
Was
you know,
two people lost their lives during this riot?
Right, two people lost their lives, right?
Was that sex offenders?
Right. One was a sex offender called Derek White. Multiple forms of, how can I put it, rape against children. Now, the reason why I say that, because I had access to their antecedents, all of them, because I want to know them. They're all giving evidence. I want to know them all. Right, so it wasn't a pretty thing.
So did you have everybody's files and?
Yeah, basically the files, but the police have an antecedent on you. So if I'm a solicitor, I ask for it and it give me a rundown of what you've been in prison, what you've been charged with throughout the years.
Yeah.
And multiple times it went on and went on and went on the list, you know. So we got a good hiding. as a result of what he was in prison for. Now, I didn't touch no sex offender. I wasn't interested in them, you know. Unfortunately, I was charged with his death.
You charged with another murder?
I was charged with his death. That Derek White sex offender. He died with, from natural causes, from a blood clot behind his left knee. But he did get a good hiding. But it was another prisoner that accused me attacking him, saying that they see me attacking him and took his eye out. His eyes were in and all that. So that's how much bullshit was going on. But luckily for me, a QC did a further autopsy on him, independent autopsy, and found the blood clot that killed him. And that's how he died, and all charges were dismissed. The other person that died was a screw, but he died from a natural cause of heart attack.
Through the riots?
Yeah. You know, not because of anybody third hand, just a natural cause of heart attack.
Alan's role in the uprising and his transformation over decades of incarceration provide a compelling look into the fight for prisoner rights.
See, because of the beatings the screws put out on you, see if they did die by getting a beating from the cons, would they have mattered? More revenge, more... Obviously...
From the screws?
Yeah. If they...
I knew that the screws, eventually when the lads were going out, myself got apprehended, that they couldn't go over the top with the beatings, because it'd been going on that many days, was under the microscope.
Because it changed the whole system you done.
Absolutely.
You were the main negotiator. You had to go and negotiate stuff. When did you start realising how big it got? How many days into the...
From the onset.
From straight away?
From the onset, because obviously discussion had taken place conservatively. And it was about the discontent within the prison system. Strangeways, but the prison system on the whole. You know, and that the message has to be put out that this type of behaviour, these type of conditions cannot continue. You know, not in this day and age.
What were you negotiating the first time you went down?
Basically, it was about, well, the first time we went down, our concerns was about prisoners. You know, if prisoners are going to come out willingly, which they have the entitlement to do so, and that they're not going to be touched. We want that security and a surety, right? Or surety, I should say, for somebody else, because somebody criticised me about using the word surety, but they got it wrong. That was our main concerns. Although the undercurrent was about the rights of conditions, screws behaviour, etc. Their concerns was about the YPs, the young prisoners. Now, I understand that because there were young lads just caught up in it, hyped up in it, egos, you know.
Story to tell their friends when they get out.
Precisely. Eventually, when it all quells down, if they were still there, reality might set in for some of them. They think, bloody hell, I want to go home now.
Today, he works to raise awareness about prison reform, reflecting on his past and sharing hard-earned lessons.
Especially people, was it all LTPs, was it all long-term prisoners, or was there people doing 1 year, 2 year?
It was a mixture.
So people could have potentially got more onto their sentence?
Absolutely, yeah.
How were you feeling going down for the first time to negotiate? You're not thinking, they're going to fucking jump me here?
Yeah, of course it did.
So why? Was that again you?
Right. Again, you got to understand, you got to understand that it's an incident, right? And in any given incident, you got to have negotiations. And the reason why I say that, because if nobody went down to negotiate and they all just got fobbed off, it would have all been for nothing. The press would have had a field day. Look at these idiots. They don't even know why they're rioting. They're just rioting for the namesake. And I didn't want to distract from the point that it was about the conditions, the inhumane conditions and the injustice of how people are treated. This is what it was about. And how can I put it? That was carried forward all the way through by myself, regardless. And as you know, a result of that the Wolf inquiry came into play right near the end. And hence, it did radicalise the old system for the better.
So once you were doing the riots, the police, they cut off all electricity?
Yeah, everything.
What, they were playing music outside?
Yeah, outside from the onset.
What the fuck was all that about?
That was to stop people conversing with the press across the way.
Or for giving information?
Yeah, on South Wall Street, there's warehouses, retail warehouses. And they were all on top of the roofs there. Mary Monson Solicitors had one of these retail warehouse, but it was a solicitor's firm, coincidentally facing the old gatehouse. So a lot of press was on there. So they didn't want prisoners and press conversing, exchanging what it was about. So they drowned them out with music or blaring of the horns. And I was calling across a couple of times, but it can be a bit heavy on that.
So what about food then? How was your supplies?
Food. Right, let me tell you about food. I mean, there was plenty of food in the kitchen, tin stuff, plenty.
For how long do you think that could have lasted for?
That could have lasted for quite a while, in actual fact.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more about true crime and the untold stories behind some of the UK's most notorious events, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates.